What's up, everybody, man? Back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla Minus 2 news and updates. In today's video, we're jumping back on into March with so much cool merch today. There's so much cool stuff. We've got some awesome figures. We've got some concept arts and storyboards, which maybe to some degree give us a direction on where Godzilla's next design could be heading, as I firmly believe we will see a new Godzilla design in the new movie. And did Takashi Yamazaki confirm multiple kaiju will be appearing in the next Godzilla movie? Let's talk about it. You guys kind of blew my mind with our recent polls on the channel here, as I dropped some polls for my recent Godzilla Minus 2 news and updates, and to my surprise, when I asked, do you think Godzilla Minus One is better than Godzilla 1954, I thought by a landslide that it's a tie, they're both the same, neither is better, was gonna win, and I in fact didn't even almost put it in the poll because I thought it was gonna soak up so much of the vote. I thought it was gonna just eat the entire thing and everybody would be like, they're the same, they're equal. To my surprise, 49%, nearly half of you guys, feel that yes, Godzilla Minus One truly is a better film than 1954, and only 14% of people thought that 1954 was a better movie. That is crazy considering how sacred that movie has been in this fan base for so long, and how unwilling people are to admit that maybe they like Godzilla movies or think Godzilla movies turned out a little better than that one. That is crazy to me. I gave all my thoughts in that other video, so I won't even get into it here. Go check out my other video if you want to hear my thoughts on that matter, but I'm surprised by the results of that poll. I don't know if I could say I fully agree with it. Off the back of that, I dropped a second poll, and again, I'm pretty surprised here. I asked, do you guys think Minus One is the best Godzilla movie ever made? And shockingly, 48%, nearly the same 50% of you guys, nearly the same half of you guys said it is the best, but is not your favorite. 33% said yes, 100% it's the best and their favorite, and then 19% said it's not the best Godzilla movie. I'm still kind of shocked to see that. I guess I can respect it, a lot of people being like, it is the best, but it's not my favorite. I didn't know where I thought that poll was gonna fall. I kind of honestly thought it might fall more into the it's not the best category, as there's a lot of people who feel very passionately that their favorite Godzilla movie is also the best Godzilla movie, and not a lot of people make the distinction between those two things, so you guys surprised me with those. Stick around to the end for the shoutouts on the alternate Godzilla Minus 2 titles. I'll give those out at the end. Starting out, we've got Daikaiju Photon's Godzilla Minus One versus King Ghidorah. This is all going down in Sendai, Japan, right in front of Sendai Station. I think that this is great. I think it turned out really cool. Godzilla looks fantastic here. Ghidorah looks amazing. I think that is the MonsterVerse Ghidorah, which is probably why I like him so much. I think that this one turned out great. I would love to see Godzilla and Ghidorah go back at it. Obviously, Yamazaki had his Godzilla fight Ghidorah in Godzilla the Ride, the first one, so hey, it's not off the table. It could very well happen. And this is sick. I think it turned out fantastic. I would love to see these two fight, and I could very much see Ghidorah being the enemy for the next movie, as he's kind of typically your go-to have Godzilla fight a big bad. Gary Zilla released this one, which is fantastic. This Shikishima trauma artwork. I love everything about it. I love the style. I love the mood. I love the horror of this piece. Shikishima looks amazing. The lighting on him looks amazing. Godzilla in the background looks terrifying. He looks very Shin Godzilla in the background there. Godzilla looks terrifying. I love the nightmare faces behind Shikishima representing his squadron and the Oto Island mechanics. It is truly fantastic. He followed it up with this one of the Godzillasaurus, which I think turned out really cool. A bit of a redesign on it. I love the fangs you gave that thing. Very Godzilla Ultima. Actually kind of does look a lot like if you mixed Godzilla's Oto form with Godzilla Ultima. I think it turned out really well. I'm a huge fan of the Oto Godzilla. I think that this one is a really cool version of it. The actor who plays Hota in Godzilla Minus One, Mio Tanaka, tried out those Godzilla desserts we talked about in a recent Godzilla Minus One news and update. This is him with the cream puff. He's making it a comparison to it looking like a big rock. That's the nicest comparison you could make to that thing. I don't know what that little Godzilla toy he's got there is, but that's very cute. And he says he's been excited to try out this thing ever since it was first announced. Of course, this is a chocolate cream puff, and I do bet that it's delicious. I bet that that thing is just truly amazing. Okay, we've got some really awesome Godzilla Minus One merch to talk about today. There's some sick apparel for Minus One. So it was announced that they will be doing a Shin Godzilla and a Godzilla Minus One King of the Monsters shirt at the Godzilla store. It's kind of weird whenever they use the King of the Monsters tagline in Japan and on Japanese Godzillas, but I guess it applies to him as well, but it has always been an American term, so that always trips me up. But those are sick shirts. This one I think is amazing. This is the Ghost X Godzilla Minus One shirt, and it is their glow in the dark shirt, their glow shirt. It is $30. I think it is sick. If I had 30 bucks to drop, I'd absolutely drop it on that, because that shirt is so freaking cool. I love the colors of that. It is such a cool shirt. The design is also sick. I love Godzilla on that with the pink circle behind him. The blue contrasting with the pink looks fantastic, and that footprint on the back is dope. I always hate when they put the cool design on the back of the shirt and then the front of the shirt has just like some little tiny logo or something. Like, give me the cool one on the front and then you can put something else neat on the back. This is the way to make a shirt. I love this so much. I think that this one turned out amazing. There's also a Brujira Godzilla collab. They have two shirts coming out that look pretty sick. There's obviously this Godzilla Minus One. This is when he walks right past the reporters, and then there's that one of Godzilla roaring right before he dies. That one is amazing. That one's so cool. I love that one as well. These both turned out really good. These jackets, if I had these, I would never stop wearing them. They are incredible. I've seen them in real person. They're super high quality. The Sukajan Godzilla 1995 jacket is on sale now, as is the Godzilla 2023 jacket. The Burning Godzilla one is truly amazing. I love Burning Godzilla on the back in the city, and then that little burning face of his up there in the corner looks dope. Godzilla Minus One looks like he's catching some sick waves, looks like he's surfing. It's also pretty cool too. I like that one a lot, but you just cannot beat that Burning Godzilla one. But the Minus One is pretty sick as well. And these jackets are incredibly high quality. Like I said, I've seen them in person and they're super cool. I really wish I could afford one. They're so dope. A cute little series of Godzilla stuffies were released. They're in the Defo form. They're very cute. They're the big series, so I'm actually not sure how big they are, but they're in the big series. There's these little hanging Godzillas. I really like the one laying down, and then there's the big Godzilla Minus One, who they specify comes with the scar on his eye and his chest. That's how you know it's Minus One. And he looks very cute as well. That's very fun. I'm a big fan of stuffies. A new Godzilla minifig was revealed of him in the water. It looks pretty sick. Don't have too much to say about it, but it is a little more expensive than I think it should be. I think I've seen this thing on sale already. And it looks really cool. Godzilla coming out of the water with his tail popping up behind him. It's pretty sick. Super 7 Super Kaiju released their Godzilla Minus One as part of this series, and with it, he comes with the train. So rather than having the buildings that the Super Kaiju normally destroy, this one comes with the train. Initially, when I saw this, I thought this was part of their reaction series line that they were doing, but it's not. It's the Super Kaiju. And I actually think he turned out really well, at least based on these images. Godzilla's got a great sculpt. He's got great painting. He looks super good. Obviously, I was a huge fan of the Super 7 Ultimates Godzilla Minus One. I reviewed that on the channel. I was a big fan of it. And while this is a Target exclusive, you can go get this thing at Target. They typically run between $20 to $30. You can use my code King of Kings 1954 on the Super 7 website to get yourself any sort of Godzilla goods you want on that website. And while it's not a discount code, I make a small commission off of whatever you buy on that website. So it's an incredibly direct way to support this channel, and also a really cool way to get yourself some cool figures in the process. This is amazing, but the new plastic figs Godzilla 2023 model kit by Kanimushi Shuzo was revealed. It's way cheaper than I thought. I thought this thing was going to be in the hundreds. It is only $50. The sculpt on it is amazing. I really like Godzilla's pose. He's got a super strong pose. I love how he's lurching forward. I love all of the textures on this thing. The oyster-like textures on his shoulders and on his chest and into his leg look so good. The feet look incredible. And then I love the layering on his spines. It is sick. They've also done a really good job painting him. He's got lots of wonderful details with the paint job. Looks like his spine's eject and you can put them in his back, which is also pretty cool. The whole thing looks dope. That one's a great one. Takashi Yamazaki appeared this year at Star Wars Celebration. Takashi Yamazaki is a lifelong Star Wars fan, and in fact, we've covered on the channel in many interviews, he discusses how watching the original Star Wars is what got him to want to start making movies in the first place. He's a huge Star Wars fan, and when he was on the awards tour for Godzilla Minus One, he kept saying over and over again that he wanted to make a Star Wars movie someday, and maybe his dreams are starting to come true. Of course, Dave Filoni did host a Godzilla Minus One screening at Lucasfilms about a year ago, which we've talked about on the channel, and also Yamazaki now got invited to and appeared at Star Wars Celebration. He's on screen at Star Wars Celebration. While there, he met Sigourney Weaver, obviously huge person in pop culture and in the sci-fi community, and this was a big thing. He was very excited about it. She is, of course, going to be in an upcoming Star Wars movie, which is why she was there. And following this, Dave Filoni said he wants Takashi Yamazaki to direct an upcoming Star Wars project They just haven't decided what yet or when yet. I actually read the full interview, you can go check it out, link down below, but in it, basically Filoni just says he's a huge fan of Minus One. He thinks it's one of the best Godzilla movies. He loves how it takes all different elements throughout the entire series, mashes them together with 1954, and then packages them in a really great movie. He's a big fan of all of that. He's a big fan of Takashi Yamazaki, and he's very impressed with Shirogami and the VFX team. He says he would love for Takashi Yamazaki to direct a Star Wars movie, but at the moment, Yamazaki's busy with Godzilla. He also says that if it were time for Yamazaki to direct a Star Wars movie, he wouldn't tell him what movie to make, but rather he'd hear Yamazaki's idea and let him be the creative, which I think is great. That's what we would all want if Yamazaki comes to Star Wars, is to see the Star Wars movie he wants to make, rather than have him just fill in for like a guest director spot, essentially. I'm shocked that this could still be occurring, although I think it's because it's part of an upcoming poster campaign, which we'll talk about in an upcoming video. But a brand new Godzilla Minus One poster was just discovered. It's not every day that we discover a new Minus One poster. This one's pretty sick. It's got the reporters on the rooftop, and it's also got the Ginza Waco there while Godzilla is towering over them. This Godzilla is obviously, it seems taken from the movie, maybe a little bit altered from the film, but this Godzilla is taken from that scene when he stomps over Noriko, and it places him right in the heart of Ginza. It looks great. I think the whole thing looks super cool. I wish it was a little more high quality because it's pretty crunched, but very dope. Some concept art was uncovered for Godzilla Minus One. First of all, we have this storyboard of Godzilla attacking the Takao, where his spines are sticking up out of it as he slams into it and starts to sink it. The smoke is rising. That looks really cool. This was all on display at Godzilla Expo Osaka, along with like the oxygen destroyer, Shin Godzilla's tail model, and so much other cool stuff. But in addition to that, they had storyboards revealing Godzilla chasing the Shinseimaru. These are not the storyboards I've shown on the channel before. A long time ago, I was able to connect to the storyboards, which were very first shown off for Minus One a long time ago at an expo event. I was able to connect those to the Shinseimaru chase. This one comes from the same sequence, although it's clearly these are a lot higher quality storyboards than the one we covered before. Godzilla looks so much like Gamera in these. He looks so much like Gamera, and he's chasing them. He's got the mine in his mouth. They have translated this from script to storyboard to film so accurately. The only thing that changed is the placement of Shikishima on the dock with the gun, whereas originally he's in the back in the movie. He's kind of in the middle of the boat. Other than that, some concept art for Godzilla's design was revealed. I actually think this could give us a little bit of an indication on where we're heading in a future Godzilla movie if they do decide to change Godzilla's design, which again, I think they will. Toho always changes Godzilla's design. He always gets a new design because it sells more toys. This isn't just like the cynic in me, but Shin Godzilla, they specifically requested, Toho had requested that Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi include multiple forms of Godzilla so that it could be a Godzilla solo movie while selling figures of multiple monsters. Same deal with Minus One, probably. It's probably the reason the Godzilla source was included in the movie in the first place. These concept art pieces, to me, look a lot more skeletal and a lot more freaky, and like they're in this regeneration process. Godzilla's got a bit more of a hunched forward appearance. You can kind of see the concept arts at the bottom. We've gotten separate looks at some of those over the years. These show the spine evolution, obviously, as Godzilla's spines seemingly started out very thin and then got very blooming before they kind of settled back into what they wound up. It also shows that Godzilla originally had a bit more of a 1998 posture. And again, these kind of look like mid-transformation pieces to me. Godzilla looks very webbed and unfinished, and like he's just regenerating. Like we're seeing flesh come over muscle here, and we're seeing it slowly grow and build. It looks very skeletal and like he is in pain and like unfinished, but it also looks a little more dragon-esque than he winds up in the movie. I think it looks fantastic. I would love to see Godzilla look like this in an upcoming film. I don't think they'll go for it. The neck's a little too long, and like I said, a little too dragon-esque. It maybe loses the Godzilla quality, which is something that they discovered when making Godzilla in 2014, is that if you extend the neck too much, you kind of lose the Godzilla quality. But my point is, this could give us an indication that maybe we're going to get a bit more of a webbed and stitched together look for Godzilla in the next movie. Maybe he won't wind up looking clean and sharp like he does in Minus One. Maybe his regeneration will slow down for some reason. It has been a little bit since he absorbed that nuclear bomb. He's also taken a lot of abuse, and we've already seen with his cheek, it doesn't regrow the same way twice. Godzilla gets his cheek exploded. When it regrows, it's got scar tissue, so now his whole body would be scar tissue. Maybe this gives us an indication of what Godzilla's gonna wind up looking like. Maybe he'll be a lot more scar tissue in the next movie and a lot more webbed flesh than he winds up in Minus One. I think that would be awesome. I think it would be a really cool way to show that he himself is suffering from the consequences of the first movie as well. I think that'd be great. My buddy Daichan speculated that Godzilla Minus One will begin filming in late spring filming and will release in 2026. Daichan is much more in the know than we are on this channel. He has always been much more in the know. In fact, I was just going back and watching his old Godzilla Minus One coverage. Dude knew about the Shinseimaru crew chase. He knew about the boat chase scene, the big chase sequence at sea, long before any of us even caught wind of it here in the United States, because he knew of the filming of Minus One long before we did. We didn't even ever know that there was public filming going on, that people were spotting filming for the movie. We just knew some locations they were filming Minus One. He knew what they were filming. He knew there was a big boat chase, so he's always been a little bit more in the know. Obviously, spring, I guess, is a relative term, considering it's very much summer for all of us, but technically I think on the calendar summer hasn't started yet, but most people acknowledge May as summer. Anyways, they are going to be filming here really soon. Filming's going to kick up, I think, towards the end of summer. They are going to be filming pretty soon, and I completely agree. I do think the movie's going to release in 2026. I would hope it releases in November 2026, around when Godzilla Minus One released. I think that'd be good, but I could also see it being a summer movie like Shin Godzilla was. This is important because Shirogami, the VFX company for Godzilla Minus One, is currently staffing for the next Godzilla movie. You can see here they have posted officially on their website that they're looking for new staff members for this next movie. Shirogami is officially seeking talent. Like I said, this is Takashi Yamazaki's VFX studio. They are expanding from the team that they had in Godzilla Minus One. I would expect that pretty much the entire team is going to return for this next movie, as they are all a very tight-knit community, and a lot of those people have been working with Yamazaki for years. But it does seem like because the next movie is going to be bigger in scale, they're going to need more VFX team members. In this, we can see they're looking for modelers, people who do modeling effects, and composites. I like that at the top it says New Godzilla Movie as the working title, and then under it we've got this alternate Godzilla tentative title, like they just don't have a way of committing to a title yet. If you're wondering what the actual Japanese translation of their quote New Godzilla is, it's not what you might think. It's not like they titled it like Shin Gojira, like Shin Godzilla was, but they didn't title it far off. Obviously, Shin is a word that can mean new, although it has multiple other meanings, which is why they picked it, because it meant new, true, God, and it had a lot of connotation for the movie Shin Godzilla itself. This one, obviously not the title, just the tentative title, but I like it because it gives the same vibe. Obviously, it's got the same word in it. Shinsaku Gojira. Shinsaku Gojira. Yamazaki actually has a little comment on here about what we can expect in Shinsaku Gojira. It says, the previous film showed us an unexpected view. I don't know what totally that means, but I have a feeling it's referring to Shirogami as a company itself, saying like, hey, we were shown a whole bunch of new things while working on that movie, in particular how big the scale of it was and how we can better move forward with the next project. Following, he says, and the task of this film is to defeat the previous one. Obviously, they're trying to make a bigger movie, bigger in scale, bigger in quality. We are looking for crew members to join us in defeating the difficult but rewarding monsters. I have seen many people fighting over what that means, and to be honest, I think it could mean multiple things. On the one hand, this could be him saying like, we need help tackling the monster of this project. This is a big project, big scale. The monsters in this case are all of the VFX shots and sequences that go into making the next Godzilla movie. Of course, the only other truly like official updates we have from Yamazaki himself is that while storyboarding the movie, he realized it's way bigger in scale and scope than Godzilla Minus One. He's gonna need a lot more money and a bigger VFX team to pull it off. Now we're seeing they're trying to get that bigger VFX team. A big reason on why they might need a bigger VFX team is because it not only has more action sequences, but because it has more monsters. It could also be a play on words, like monsters I think was picked intentionally because monsters, it's a monster movie, it's a Godzilla movie, but also it's a monster of a task to take on the VFX for this film. Monsters plural, is this just a Japanese thing? Like Japanese plural words are actually mostly the same word as the singular word, so who knows? But it could be also a way to tease. Yes, in fact, there are going to be multiple monsters in this next movie. I keep hearing from Japan that there probably will be more than one monster in this next movie, but could it be the same situation where it's like a Godzilla sword turns into Godzilla, or obviously Godzilla's already had his full evolution, but like maybe a webbed, fleshy Godzilla like the one I was talking about a little bit ago, transforming into a more healed version of Godzilla. Those could be the monsters. Obviously, Bandai had labeled monsters A and B for Godzilla Minus One, and monster A was Godzilla and monster B was Godzilla Odo. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's an enemy kaiju, but it does mean that maybe we could be seeing more forms of Godzilla. Obviously, if Toho's mandate is still around, it's not like a hard mandate. It's not, I don't think it's like one of those unbreakable rules, but I do think it's a very strong suggestion to include multiple forms of Godzilla in each movie. Well, in one case, You could have Godzilla regenerate back into a version of himself, but you wouldn't want Godzilla to regenerate the same, because then you're not going to be able to market as much Godzilla merchandise and Godzilla himself as much if he looks identical. On the other hand, a way you could get around it is by giving Godzilla a design that's either the same design as he had in the previous film, or just giving him a brand new one and sticking with it, and then including another monster for them to sell figures of and for them to sell merchandise of. Those are both ways around the same problem, either including multiple forms of Godzilla or including an enemy monster for Godzilla to fight. And hey, what's better than that? Why not all of it? Why not sell Godzilla in multiple forms, where we've got a regeneration Godzilla, a fully healed Godzilla that maybe looks a little different than Minus One, and then an enemy monster himself who maybe also has a multiple form. Those are great ways to sell figures, and that's what Toho likes, because that's where they actually make the bulk of their money. Well, this post I wouldn't take as confirmation that there will be multiple monsters in this next movie. It's fun to nod at and to be like, hey, maybe that could be a hint to it, and I do believe that there will be multiple monsters, whether or not they wind up being monstrous forms of Godzilla or not, I don't know. But I do think that there probably will be an enemy monster for Godzilla himself to fight. Yamazaki has talked about for a long time, and you can go check out many of Minus 2 news and updates on this channel where I've talked about we probably will see an enemy monster, as Yamazaki has wanted to include Godzilla fighting an enemy for a while now. Who that monster winds up being, we have no clue, but the only thing we have hinting to anything is that he wanted to bring Hedorah back, so maybe it's Hedorah. It could be Hedorah. I don't know. We have a little less to go on here than we do with Supernova, and I like that, personally. That gets me more excited. Final thing here really fast, I announced that I'd be giving shoutouts to people who had their best alternate title for Godzilla Minus 2 on my Godzilla Minus 2 custom theme. A couple of them stood out to me. First of all, Goku49, Godzilla a Dark Mark. That was the best they could come up with, they said. I think that that's awesome. Godzilla a Dark Mark, obviously referring to the thing on Noriko's neck, that's gotta play a big part in this next movie. Whatever's happening with Noriko, we don't know yet, and how can it play into the next film? Is she gonna be the enemy monster? A lot of people think she'll mutate into some freaky monster herself. Very well, she could. I like Dark Mark. I honestly would drop the A and just have it be Godzilla Dark Mark. I think that's pretty sick. Next up's from Murky McMurders, what a freaking name, saying Godzilla Minus Hope, which is already pretty cool, and Godzilla Ground Zero, which if you watch this channel, you know I obviously love the name Godzilla Ground Zero. It ties into the whole Godzilla Zero thing, which was an awesome title that floated around before Godzilla Minus One came out. I loved that title so much I used it for my pitch on Godzilla Minus 2. Godzilla Ground Zero is also the name of my series where I visit locations, Godzilla filming locations in real life. I love that title, so big shout out to that one. But my number one favorite title actually comes from Saturn Dusk himself, and it is Godzilla Requiem. I love it because of the beauty of it. It's beautiful, it's simplistic, it's elegant, and it also speaks volumes about what the tone of that movie would be. A movie called Godzilla Requiem, you know, is going to be a different movie going in than a movie like Godzilla Kong Supernova. Those titles are so opposite, on opposite ends of the spectrum, that you just automatically know what type of movie you're getting into. And Requiem is one of the best songs composed ever for a Godzilla movie. It's the song that plays when Godzilla dies in 1995. It's a beautiful song. Godzilla Requiem is a great title. I would love that. That feels very appropriate, and that's my favorite one. So big shout out Saturn Dusk. I love that. That's where I'll end it for today. What do you guys think? Do you guys expect Godzilla will fight an enemy monster in the next movie? Do you think he'll have multiple forms? What do you think of my Godzilla regeneration theory? Comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. It is through the support of the patrons on Patreon that I'm able to continue to make videos like this for you. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. If that's not your thing, please consider joining as a channel member. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man out.